Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Here I am the virtual CEO. We talk everything business, everything God, everything putting God in your business, making him the CEO. I help coaches, consultants, and course creators start, scale, automate, and market their business. I ended up making a short form video and I was talking about how people leave their 9 to 5 to get out of the rat race just to be in the entrepreneurial rat race. I guess you can really call it like the 9 to 5 hamster wheel. I call that the rat race. What most entrepreneurs want is to not have to sacrifice a bunch of time to make a little bit of money. They want that time freedom and that financial freedom. Oftentimes, you will see entrepreneurs who they're working 16, 18 hours a day in their business continuously, and they're still not even making the amount of money that they were at their 9 to 5. So you're working more and making less. That's what I consider the rat race. Right after me quitting my job, I ended up going into like this moment of like depression. I really don't like to label it that, but it pretty much was. I was just going through so much grief, family members dying back to back to back, on top of now I'm looking at my bank account and realizing that I still have to live, right? Like I prepare financially, but it's still like a mental, I can't even really explain it. It's something that happens to your mentality when you go full-time entrepreneurship and now you're dependent upon this. When you are leveraging your 9 to 5 and have your business that you're growing on the side, it's, you kind of have like this cushion. And then when that cushion is just removed and every single time it's the first of the month, you're paying your bills, you keep seeing more decreasing than it's coming out, you're like, hold on, wait. That was not my story before I quit, but it seemed like almost immediately after me quitting, that's exactly what happened. And so this sent me into this hustle culture mentality. I was like, no, this gotta work or this gotta work. Like, I can't go back to my 9 to 5. I can't explain to them like, hey y'all, I'm back. You know what I mean? Like, no, absolutely not. We have to figure this thing out. And I start working 16, 18 hours a day. And I'm like, okay, like this is the real grind. And what I learned is that working more does not lead to more income. It only leads to exhaustion. And what you will find a lot of entrepreneurs doing, that they will be working on things in the business that's not even pushing the needle forward. So one of the things that I'm going to suggest is make sure that you're prioritizing revenue generating tasks. There's always going to be something that you can do in your business. That's just the reality of it, right? If you focus on revenue generating tasks, then you are able to accumulate more money. And then the more money that you bring in, you can hire people to do these monotonous admin tasks that you're not really good at, you don't know how to do, or maybe you don't want to do. And so that would be my number one tip, is to focus on the revenue generating things so you can hire out, even if that's you just contracting somebody. I feel like we stay in this solopreneur stage way too long. Yes, of course, there will be a season where you have to grind it out. However, you don't want to stay there for too long. This is the reason why businesses fail, right? Is because they aren't generating enough money and they are going into burnout, and leads to them to say, you know what, it was actually easier and actually more lucrative of me staying with my 9 to 5. I see this happening with so many entrepreneurs. They're like, you know what? Getting a 9 to 5 was the best thing that I could do. Going back into entrepreneurship, going back into employment while building your business on the side. I promise this story is going somewhere, so just make sure that you stay tight. At the beginning of this year, I started getting into digital products and ebooks and courses and selling it to my audience. And of course, that naturally led me into business coaching, because whenever you will buy something from me, then I will offer you mentorship, and we will all be in a group together having weekly masterminds, and you'll be in a group with like-minded individuals who are also killing it in their business. I decided, you know what? I already knew that I was called to business coaching, so this was the perfect pivot into going full-time business coaching. At that point in time, my source of income was coming strictly from TikTok. I made a couple of sales on Facebook, made a couple of sales on Instagram, but like 80%, I think when I looked at my numbers the other day, I think like 80 to 90% came from TikTok. Once my TikTok, I kept getting like restrictions and stuff on my TikTok, it really made me reevaluate my marketing strategy. I said, no, we have to branch out into other platforms. And that's exactly what I started doing. I started focusing my attention on Instagram. They say that the amount of money that you make on TikTok, you will make 10 times as much money on Instagram. And so if you are only focusing your strategy on one platform, that is a big mistake. Also, make sure that you are getting your prospects, your customers information so that you can nurture them off platform. Like once TikTok started restricting my life and I started branching out into Instagram, I decided, you know what, this business coaching thing, I really love it. I really enjoy it. I love the networking. I love help other people achieve their goals in business. And I'm like, I need to start scaling this thing and start getting into paid advertising. Now, before this, my strategy was strictly organic. And with organic, I mean, you just don't know if a video was going to go viral or not. You kind of banking on the algorithm to push your content. And I say, you know what? Enough is enough and too much is good for nothing. Like, I'm not finna sit here and put my my financial fate into an algorithm. I mention this very often. I would rather pay to get there quicker than to try to hold every single cent just for the sake of I want to go organic. Yes, organic is fine. You need to go organic. If you don't know how to build quality content, just because you throw money behind it, it's not going to work. I say all that to say I'm on the ramp up and I'm scaling. And the thing that I love about ads is that you get directly in front of your target customer. You're not waiting for an algorithm. You're not praying and wishing, hoping that Meta decides to push your video. With the right ad strategy, you get directly in front of your target audience and tell them who you are, what you do, and why they need your product in order to alleviate their problem. And then they can decide if I'm the business coach for them. And then once we get on the call, I can decide if they are a prospect that I actually want to have in my program. I don't allow everyone into my program. You have to have certain ethics, morals, values. We have to be in alignment. So not only do I have a setter, I have a closer, but I also have a customer success manager. So my customer success manager is inside the community, making sure that everybody is on task, that they are completing the activities to make sure that before that they run the ad strategy and start pumping money onto pay advertising, that number one, their existing content is actually good. Like they have high value content. We don't want them to put sprinkles on poop. And this is why people tell you, oh, don't do ads. It's because they're not auditing their content to make sure that it's actually quality. So the whole point of me telling you all this is that you have to hire a team to help you out. It really does not have to be this big, robust team, and I prefer it to be a smaller team. It's less people that I have to manage. It's less moving parts. And, of course, then it's a leaner payroll, okay? And then the way that I structure things is I give my closer and my setter a percentage, and my customer success manager. So they get a percentage of the whole, the revenue. So it's in their best interest. They close deals in their best interest, that they actually qualify leads in their best interest to keep the clients happy, right? It's all in our best interest. The more money I make, the more money they make. And this is the best business model, honestly. So once again, if you are a consultant, online coach, course creator, sell digital products, figure out which part of your business, look into it. Figure out, even if you sell physical products, figure out what you can hire out for. There are many tasks that you can hire out for. There are so many resources. I've shared this with y'all before. You can hire people who are in Latin America for like $3, $4, $5, $6 an hour. Like, that's just like what? And it's best to be in Latin America instead of them being like in India or something like that, because number one, they're on the same time zone as you. And then a lot of people from the apps that I use, they are fluent in English, so they don't have like the strong accent. It's not hard for people to understand, which is very important, especially if they are your closer or your setter. You just want to not have any language barriers or anything like that. And yeah, y'all, try to figure out what roles you can hire out for so you can get out the solopreneur rat race or the solopreneur hamster wheel. It is a struggle being a solopreneur. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak. Do not be cheap. once you start making a good 30, 40, $50,000 a month, you should be hiring people to delegate. Like, if you want to be a good leader, you got to know how to delegate. So practice that early on. A lot of people, myself especially, I'd be like, oh, nobody can do what I do. Listen, that's a lie. There's some people that can actually do it better than you do. It's just about you being resourceful, figuring out the platforms to hire people to help you in your business, getting them in at a good price point. If the roles that you're hiring for is a part of your sales cycle or part of your sales team, you can give them a percentage. And so they win as long as you win, right? And yeah, you all, I hope that you was able to pick up something from this video. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And join the virtual CEO tribe. And until next time, I'm wishing you peace, purpose, and prosperity.